way,
Yeah.
And why is he so happy after that liquid, Or why is he mean when he doesn't have the liquid?
It's really interesting because this happened with both my parents. My relationship with them, my idea of who they were as people was distorted. I didn't think I just about remembered what my mother had been like before her alcoholism. I remembered that, and I had when she was sober, I actually had a good relationship with her, really good. We were really close. But my dad I had a different relationship with him then than I do now. I didn't really know because my mum being upset and angry and drunk made him angry. So I just saw that side of him. I didn't see the good side of him. Then there's a loving, gentle, sensitive, understanding side of him that I got to know when I grew up, and that I know now. That because it was so hidden by all this kind of alcohol, violence, the kind of negative energy in the home and all that anxiety and all that stuff going on. It was hidden by that, and I got a distorted view of who my parents were at that point. But obviously that changed as I got older. And certainly before my mother died, it had changed. So,
when kids have anxiety so young, that there's a problem in the home or something. There's change, too much change, too much moving, or too much insecurity, where kids feel like the carpet's being ripped out from under them all the time, or they're walking on eggshells. You can tell there's something to focus on. And like what the caller said, Patrick, he was saying that the washing of the hands, you can tell there's a problem. That when people want to overcompensate or feel nervous or feel shook up, especially in children. And it's not okay to do that because anxiety is something that's hard to get rid of. Fear is something that's really hard to eliminate in our head once it's there. And we're all born without fear. Babies aren't scared of anything. We learn, and we learn what to be fearful of. And then some people self-medicate and instead of talk it out. And that's something where counseling can help. And like you're saying, James, that Al-Anon meetings, really help you. That's a form of therapy and support. And so you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it's solidarity as well, because I knew before I went to Al-Anon that other people had probably been through what I've been through. But when I went to Al-Anon, I actually met people who had been through it, and they were talking about their stories. And when they told their stories, it was like hearing my own, and it was, there are actually people who've been through exactly what I've been through. And it's not just kind of a theory that because you can know something without having the experience of it, and when you have the experience of it, it completely changes it. So when you have the experience of somebody else who has been through exactly what you've been through, and it changes everything, because you suddenly feel like, I'm not alone. Actually, it wasn't just me. Other people have been through this. Lots of other people have been through this, and they have real experiences which are a lot like mine. And it kind of helps you to come to terms with it. And almost it's like a pressure valve being released. You can actually let it go. You can actually release your experience into the world, and it be validated.
It's empowering when that happens, isn't it?
Get free of it.
That's what the show is about. It's empowering to do that. It's empowering to share it with people that understand. It's empowering to understand that we're not alone. We believe it or not, we do need that support within each other. I didn't even know that about you, Ed, and I've known you for 5 years.
I wonder what's harder, fixing the problem, the alcoholism, or getting the person to admit there is a problem.
Which
is harder?
I think the second one is harder, because you've got to deal with the problem. You have to admit you have a problem.
Right.
And
I'm not saying, okay, I got a problem and then walk off. I got a problem, now we got to do something
Usually once people erase the denial and the shame and the guilt associated with denial, there's a lot of people don't want to fix the problem, so to speak. I don't really like using that word, but face it or address the problem. A lot of people, when their shame and guilt, probably because of the consequences of the actions that they've done while intoxicated. So they don't want to face that. They don't want to sit there and go, yeah, I beat my kids. Yeah, I was violent. Yeah. They go into those meetings later, like Alcoholics Anonymous, to talk. That's why it's probably anonymous. So to talk and discuss of all the stupid things they did when they were intoxicated. Because it's not easy for people to to get clean and sober, and without, I mean, most everyone that has used has some sort of negative story that's attached to it, and they don't want to face it. But nobody will face it unless they admit there's a problem. There's a stupid joke, I'm going to tell it. How many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb has to want to change. And it's just... It's so true, though.
I didn't have a rim shot ready for that.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, so, I mean, it's true, though. It's a stupid joke, but it has truth to it. Anyway, on that note, since I just rang a bell on myself, let's go to our second break, Ed. Let's come back to Moments of Clarity in just a moment. James, stay tuned. And callers, call in 866-826-1340. We'd love to hear from you.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
BuildingBeyond.me is a community. We try to help animals, including the humans. We fundraise to buy oxygen pumps for babies, water and food for families, from dog food and veterinary surgery, from shoes to food to milk and diapers. BuildingBeyond.me.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
Did you know that your physical health plays a big role in your mental health? Healthy minds and healthy bodies go hand in hand. The problem for many is finding the time and getting the results they want. X-Force Body is perfect for people with busy schedules, with a mission to inspire you to become leaner, stronger, and in the process healthier. X-Force Body coaches will encourage, motivate, and inspire you through every workout, helping you achieve the results you desire. Learn more about X-Force Body. For more information, visit www.xforcebody.com.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hey, thanks for waiting. And you're listening to Moments of Clarity. My name's Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And we're talking about how alcoholism can affect family members, and even within yourself, with somebody else, with friends, people that are around you. And my guest today is calling in from England. He's a podcast host and an author, and he's my good friend. And welcome back, James Prescott. And I really love it. And behind the glasses, really well. Ed. And we're just talking about how alcohol has impacted all of our families, and it wasn't fun. And if something happened in your family that you want to talk about, call in 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. And I really appreciate. I'm sorry to hear you, like what Ed and James have gone through, and we're talking about. We're not alone. Nobody's alone in this. I don't think anyone doesn't know.
You said you never knew, but it's not kind of something you bring up, you know.
I know. But we've just been doing this show so many times. And
hey, by the way,
it's a difficult thing to talk about because it's people that you love. I mean,
That's definitely true.
I love both my parents, and I'm very conscious, especially because my mother's not around anymore, that I don't want to speak badly of them. I don't want to misrepresent them as like these evil, cruel, wicked people, because they weren't. They were loving, good parents who cared about me, and I know they did, because I many times expressed that in my childhood, even in my childhood, even during my teenage years. There were moments where you could see that, and I had a good relationship with my mother after she got into recovery. And even during her alcoholism, there were moments again where we were quite close. And now I have quite a good relationship with my dad. And they're just, like I said earlier, they're people. We're human beings. We're not perfect. And when bad things happen, which had happened to my family, to my mother in particular, we try and cope with them in different ways. And one of the ways, sadly, that people try to cope with things is addiction. And my mother had an addiction, and that was her coping mechanism for the stuff that she was going through every day, living without short-term memory, which is, I can't even imagine what that would be like. And especially when you hadn't had that before, and then suddenly that's in your life and you can't do anything about it. There's a feeling of despair and hopelessness, and that's probably what led to the alcoholism in the first place. Mm-hmm. And so,
notice that, to look at them as human beings. That
I think it's very difficult not to talk. That's why it's one reason it's difficult to talk about for me, because I want to make sure that my parents are not misrepresented. But at the same time, I can't defend what they did. But at the same time, they're human beings.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I don't. Yeah, I mean, like, my father drank a lot, but he was actually a war hero and 3 Purple Hearts, platoon leader. He had grenade shrapnel in his hand and on all of his body from stuff that they couldn't remove from just. And back then, this is why I'm so big on helping veterans with post-traumatic stress and that ending the stigma of mental health is because he didn't want to get help because of that stigma, and it impacted his life. And I remember that. I needed counseling back in the day. He told me that I wasn't crazy enough for counseling. And it was after I found my mother dead from a brain aneurysm. And who doesn't send their kids to counseling is somebody that believes in that stigma. And so it's just, and to watch somebody self-medicate like that, it's hard to do. But we understood. It's, he would wake up in sweats and stuff, and just from nightmares.
What I think is fascinating as well is that there's 3 of us who have been talking today, that all of us now do kind of mental health advocacy, and we talk about it publicly and we write about it or whatever. We do radio shows, podcasts about it, and try and support other people. And all of us have come from those difficult backgrounds, those difficult childhoods where we had bad experiences which kind of impacted our own mental health, and where we encountered stigma around mental health. And that's what I often see with people who've gone through these kind of things, that they can then go on and help other people and support other people and provide solidarity to other people, and people who are maybe on a different point in their journey of kind of recovery or dealing with these problems, dealing with these issues. That kind of can lead to something good. That okay, what happened was awful, and I wouldn't want to go through it again, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But at the same time, it's kind of it's brought me to this place where I'm now able to help other people who've been through something similar. And it's the same with you. Like we've all gone through difficult circumstances. We've all had kind of issues with mental health, and now we can use that to help other people who are going through the same thing. And that's something good that can come out of that, I think.
Yeah, and then back in the day, and we're talking about the 3 of us that were talking that did not have a great childhood, used that experience to better ourselves and get up and not have the same outcome in our lives. Mm-hmm. Whereas today, having a bad childhood means you can stay home and play video games all day and not work. and it's a great crutch. But, I saw that and would never want to instill. I never had kids, but I would never want to instill that on anybody, and always stayed away from it. I'm not saying I don't drink and have a drink here and there, but I think somewhere in the back of your mind it tells you, hey, you don't want to ever get to that point.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
Because you kind of relive it. And like I said, that was, like Tiff said, that was an embarrassing moment for me to see your dad driving your friends standing there with you, and your dad's driving swigging down the road, swigging out of a paper bag.